Welcome to Powered by Snowflake, a series where I interview technology leaders building applications and businesses on Snowflake. I'm your host, Daniel Myers, and today I'm talking with Juan Avedillo, Chief Operating Officer of Nextail. Nextail is an AI-driven merchandising management platform powered by Snowflake. Juan, how are you today?
Hello, Daniel. Nice to meet you. Nice to be here with you.
I am really excited to get to learn more about you and the Nextail platform. In your own words, can you tell me what exactly is Nextail and how have you been building out this platform?
Absolutely. So Nextail is a SaaS platform oriented towards big retailers. We provide a service to optimize inventory management through all the value chain. So basically, we support retailers on making better decisions with all their data. We want to enable them to sell more with less inventory on a more efficient way and, of course, on a more sustainable way.
Beautiful. And so tell me more about the background and history of Nextail. What's the current scale, both operationally as a business, but also as a product? How much data are you processing on a daily or weekly basis?
We are processing billions of raw on a daily basis. And let me tell you a little bit about the story. Nextail was founded by Joaquin Villaga. He worked at Inditex. He was an operation director for Europe, and he realized of the complexities of managing all the inventory for big retailers like Zara and on all the other brands of Inditex. He decided to bring that experience that he had into a SaaS platform. No? Back in the days, they were doing that in the old AS400, and he thought, why not implementing this type of solutions in the cloud to offer them to the rest of the world, no? To improve the efficiency, but also the sustainability of the platform. And that's how Nextail was born, with the idea of helping, as I said before, retailers in making better decisions. What we do today, we cover the end-to-end of the merchandising management. That is from the collection decision, basically what assortment do I want to have for my next collection, through the buy and all the in-season inventory management, which is where do I deploy each one of my goods to get a better probability of sales. That's in a nutshell what we do on a very, very big level.
So that's impressive, both as a scale of the product. You mentioned billions of rows daily, and as a company, how you've grown in that period of time is pretty incredible. So I want to learn more about how do you use and leverage Snowflake today to help that scale, right? How do you leverage Snowflake to have those billions of rows daily all within your platform?
Absolutely, and the way that we came out with Snowflake was due to the limitations of the previous cloud that we were supporting for analytical capacity. As we were growing in clients and size of clients, we reached a point where we were solving very complex problems of huge amounts of data, and our clients need response on a matter of very few hours. Since you close the store until you open the next day, you have just a very tiny fraction of time where you need to do all those computations, then send them to the distribution centers so they can pick up the goods and send them to the stores. So the window of time that we had to actually do the whole process was very little. And we were very limited, even with the biggest instances of many cloud providers, we were not able to do that. So we were struggling onto how to fulfill those big clients. No? And Snowflake, in that end, came as a fantastic opportunity to untap that limit that we had.
So Juan, I really want to see a demonstration or an architectural diagram of where specifically Snowflake fits into your broader architecture. Do you have an architectural diagram that you can show us today?
Absolutely. Let me show it to you. Where do we have Snowflake. So as you can see, Snowflake is at the very core of the platform. It's our data platform. We are serving huge retailers worldwide, like Guess, River Island, Pinko, Pinky, Flying Tiger. They have billions of data that we need to manage. So for us, managing data is at the very core of the platform. And then around the data platform is where we build the rest of the magic that we provide, like all the models, all the interactions, all the data orchestration, and finally, of course, all the data interaction and sharing with our clients. Of course, also with a little bit of a security layer, which is mandatory for the type of clients that we deal with.
So that's impressive. And I loved seeing how core and critical Snowflake is to your overall architecture here, and really kind of how you are truly powered by Snowflake. Can we see a live demo of this in action?
Super. Yeah, absolutely. Let me show you a little bit of the platform. I will give you a little bit of an overview, first of all, and then dig on some interesting things that we have for our client. As we were saying, we cover the end-to-end product lifecycle. Since you define which product go into the collection, that's a certain module. Then how many units do you need? Then that's a buy or the reorder, which then you decide the quantity that you need to purchase. Then it goes into action. No, how do you implement them on your point of sale? That's our first allocation module. Then you need to replenish the product. That's our replenishment module. And finally, at the end of the session, you need to balance a little bit across the different points of sale, and that is our store transfer module. All that provided as a landing page for a very powerful analytical page, so you can infer how your business is doing. So this is a demo environment that we prepared. We're simulating one of our clients. And you can see the comparison and the interesting information that we are providing for our clients. Like first of all, and money talks. No, it's how our sales behaving this year versus last year, but also because of COVID, we are comparing that versus pre-COVID times. So to understand how well or how bad you are doing. After you've seen your performance, then we want to see much more detailed business metrics, like real stock out, the coverage of your product, the store stocks, sellouts, etc., etc. We have a lot of flexibility on this platform. Like we can show, we can apply different filters, select the different areas, countries, how you choose it, and then it's quite configurable. So the user at the end can decide their better usage. Not only that, but we are already, with this dashboards tool, we are providing insights for our clients. Like, for instance, which are the best products? No? What are the best selling products? And then you can look how good they are behaving. You have a lot of information about your sales, your stocks, your stock outs, which is very important for retailers, means sales that you are losing. All in all, it's quite interesting. Similarly, you can see the stores, but also very interesting. We can define, or you can see where are you not having sales, and maybe you have a product, and let's select one country, for instance, or a region where you don't have you have some. Let me see here. Let's see. So I want to jump into look why I am not having sales, because that might tell me that I have some problems in some stores. Or maybe I want to see whether I have a ghost stock. Ghost stock meaning that apparently I do have a stock, but it's not reflected on the store. So actually it might be that it's an inconsistency in data. No? So we are also helping retailers to do those things. So these are the zero sales. Similarly, these are products that you say, why do I have 10 products here without any sales? Whether if I think or ghost stock, what I was saying. So this is a little bit the landing where our clients can see many metrics. Then we have an insights, which you can it's a BI platform that is enabled for our clients, where they can upload data and they can play with the with their data and extract and analyze better, specifically some operation. Like for instance, this is for a store transfer. You can see the history of position and each one of the different operations. That some more analytical parts. So this is super powerful in terms of analyzing. And then we go into the action, which are the other ones. No, I'm going to just show one module, which I think it's super interesting, very complex and very computational demanding, which is stock transfer. This module balances stocks across all points of sale, and we use it specifically for end of season to balance across stores. So we want to unify the different collections, different size curves, etc. So when you walk into a store, you can find what you. At the end, what we always try to do is put the product where the demand is gonna be. And in this case, for instance, in this module, you can just run it, and then it can ask you a little bit what's the perimeter. Do you want to start from scratch? Do you want to leverage a past execution? I'm not gonna go through it because it may be a little bit tedious for you guys. So I'm gonna just show you an example of a past execution. Again, this is a demo environment with all the information. So basically, this implies sending to all the stores of a network orders to move stocks across them. No, and an example here. Well, this is a next scenario. Imagine a past scenario where we achieve an incremental just by this moment, like 13,000 euros for this particular move. How many? We involve 9 stores, 22 products, etc., etc. And then you can drill down to understand truly what's happening. So for each one of the products, how is it behaving, and all the different stores that were involved, how many trips do you need, the number of products involved, the units that you're sending, etc., etc. And more importantly, from a business perspective, what is the expected return out of it?
So it's pretty impressive to see all that Nextail has to offer. And the fact that it's all built on top of and powered by Snowflake. What has been some of the core features of Snowflake that have been big elements to your decision-making to build this entire platform on top of Snowflake? What would you say have been those top features of Snowflake that you use today?
I would say 3 key features were the decisive ones for us to jump into Snowflake. First one was the capacity, the processing capacity. Secondly, I would say the flexibility, of being able to choose memory or computing power, which is something that is differential. And last, but I would say not last, is the data sharing capacity, and that's becoming more and more important as we are seeing some of our clients that are also in Snowflake, and that accelerates a lot all the integration. That for us is something that is a little bit heavy. It typically takes a couple of months, and with Snowflake we can reduce it significantly.
That I love hearing some of that because you mentioned the separation of compute and storage. That is like you said, a key differentiator for Snowflake, and the fact that you can scale the amount of storage that you use independently from the amount of compute that you use. Because we see all the time, and I'm sure that you see it all the time in your customers, that there are some workloads where there's a huge amount of data, but you're not necessarily querying that data all that much. On the flip side, you could have a smaller amount of data that you're querying and processing a lot. And so it's important to be able to have this independent compute and storage layers that you can scale that can scale completely separately from each other.
Absolutely. So we have clients that send us every day 1 billion rows. And for doing our estimations and our models, we require a long period of times to train our models, to make estimations, and so on. So imagine the relevance that for us has, not only from a cost perspective, but also from an efficiency perspective. So it's super important for us.
And I also love the fact that you mentioned data sharing, because I see all the time in my conversations that I have with customers and partners that, data sharing is one of those elements that until you start to really use it, doesn't always click in terms of how impactful that truly can be to the product that you're building. So as a developer or as a founder of a company, the value that data sharing can bring, both in speed and efficiency of development time, because there's no ETL or ELT process necessary. It's simply there. You are literally sharing data with somebody else, while at the same time having that fine-grained programmatic control over who can access that data, who can query the data, who can add to the data. You have all of those programmatic guarantees through various permissions and grants that Snowflake allows. And so it's really changing the game for how to build data-intensive applications at its core. And I love seeing that Nextail is a huge user of that feature. So from here, tell me more about, for Nextail, over the next 6 months, 12 months, what are some things that your customers should get most excited about in your roadmap?
Well, we are integrating all the different functionalities that we have. We are bringing all our models to the state of the art. So we are improving all our forecasting capacities with the newest models and algorithms. We are also upgrading our optimization engine, and we are adding new functionalities, some of them leveraging Snowflake. So we are bringing an evolution of the Nextail platform into our clients. It will be impacting them in better results and faster response time. We aim one day to be able to be real time. We are building a platform to be real time. And it's mostly due to the huge amount of data that we need to process every day. We're talking about billions and billions of rows every single day that we need to process. We are not there yet. The technology is not there yet, but I hope you guys can take us there.
Absolutely. And, I love the fact that you mentioned that. One of the things that Snowflake has recently announced is Snowpipe streaming, right? You mentioned you want to be real time. I would imagine that your product teams are probably already experimenting with Snowpipe streaming and things like native applications, combining those two so that it makes it even easier for your customers to build and utilize your product with Snowflake. Would you say that, what are some things that you're using today with Snowpipe, Snowpark, or native applications and Nextail?
We are at the testing phase. We have a lot of people researching and building a new product. As a matter of fact, we are a little bit of a weird startup for our size. We are like almost 150 people, and I would say more than 2/3 of those people are R&D. So we are just building product and researching and so on. So I'm quite sure that the team is exploring all the current functionalities and the future functionalities of Nextail, of Snowflake, sorry, because we are innovation is at the heart of Nextail. We have more than 10 PhDs working intensively on these things. So surely we will make the most out of any new thing that you guys are able to bring into life.
That's great. And I'm really excited to see what's next for Nextail. So I want to say a big thank you, Juan, for joining me today for this interview. Where should people go to learn more about you and about your company?
Please go to our website. It's www.nextail.co without an M. And that's where you can find what we do and our contact information, and we will be more than happy to talk to you and help you resolve your inventory management.
Perfect. And for all of our viewers here today, if you want to learn more about how to build your business or application on Snowflake, be sure and check out developers.snowflake.com. And if you want to see other interviews like this one with technology leaders in the space, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This has been another episode of Powered by Snowflake. My name is Daniel Myers. See you next time.